Welcome to the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. Just like you, I'm an independent retail business owner. I love the home decor and gift boutique I co-own with my sister, but I don't want it to consume me or my life. Join me each week as I share lessons learned, helpful tips, and valuable information for your retail business and life. Whether you're buying your products or making your products, whether you're a $25K business or a $2.5 million business, I'm on a mission to help indie retailers work less, profit more, and grow. Let's get started on today's episode. Welcome to episode 141 of the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. Meet Poor Planning Polly. I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. I have so much to share about this year's retreat. It was incredible. I don't even know what else to say. I've only been home for a few days after returning from Frügthaven Farm in Michigan, and I'm still processing a lot, and I mean a lot. And I know the people who attended are doing the same thing. So I like to give myself a little bit of time to process it all, the emotion, everything that happened. So I will be back in your AirPods or in your cars with an episode that will recap the retreat next week. There's something magical about these retreats. I don't know how else to describe it, but I can't wait to share because there's a lot to share. So at this year's retreat, my final presentation was on the topic of retail planning. In my mind, I was going to present on this topic no matter what, regardless of whether I was prepared to launch the planner or not, because retailers really need this. As it turned out, I wasn't quite ready to fully launch the planner. I still had some things to do when I got home, so I decided to do what we could call a soft launch, kind of like a soft grand opening, and explained to the people that attended that as soon as details were wrapped up, they would get the planner as soon as possible if they purchased it there. Anyhow, I want to share a couple of audio clips from my planning presentation at the retreat because I think it will be helpful and because something funny happened. During my opening remarks, I mentioned that before each retreat, things really seem to fall into place. It's actually quite eerie. Like the universe drops these little perfect moments or these little golden nuggets, like it just drops in my lap to make each retreat even better. This retreat was no different, and you're going to find out what I mean, so keep listening. To kick off this episode, I want you to hear my introduction of Poor Planning Polly at the retreat. We all probably have at least a little bit of Polly in us, and I'm sharing this because I think it's so relatable for retail business owners. The amount of people who smirked or chuckled or maybe pouted or grimaced at me during this part of the presentation was amusing. And if I was in the audience, I would do the same thing too. Polly, again, is really relatable. So here's my story about Poor Planning Polly from the retreat. So I want you to meet Poor Planning Polly. In episode 34 of the podcast, it was titled, Why You Need to Know Your Shopkeeper Personality Type. I was just kind of making fun of us. We have like 20 personality types. Do you remember that episode? I thought it was pretty funny. I don't think everyone else thought it was funny. I think I named her Lack of Planning Linda, and I was like, that's not a good alliteration, so I changed her name for this presentation. It's Poor Planning Polly. Now, let's see how I can say it quickly so many times during the presentation. We're just going to say Polly for short. Does anyone feel like, without me even talking about her, does anyone feel like that's them? That's them. Who's Polly? So I want you to listen to this, and if you want, kind of like yesterday, as I'm going through this, jot down, is this you? Do you still do this? Oh yeah, I thought I was a good planner, but I do that, or I do this. So we're going to start off Poor Planning Polly's year, and we're going to start off the story in December. December ends, Anne's already smirking. December ends, and Christmas is over, and Polly's putting everything away, and she realizes, oh goodness, like January is right around the corner. I have to do a store refresh, and I don't have nearly enough product to refresh my store. And this isn't like the usual, when you get rid of Christmas and you declutter the store and all the glitter is gone and you sweep it all up and you go to put your store together and you're like, God, it feels so naked. Does anyone ever have that when you switch from Christmas to January? And it's not that so much. It's not enough inventory. So Polly doesn't have enough inventory. And now it's January and she has to leave for market. She's heading to Atlanta or Dallas or wherever. And she's going to be gone for a week. So that means it just takes away a whole week of her time to refresh her whole entire store. She can get rid of Christmas, but she's not going to be able to do much in terms of her inventory. Now February comes along, Valentine's Day. She's on Instagram and she's seeing everyone's cute Valentine's display, merchandising displays, fantastic window displays, super creative, involved, and she has FOMO. March comes around and she wants to plan for the rest of the year, but she didn't track anything from the year before. She has no idea what she's working with. She doesn't know which month was better, which month was worse. She starts to kick into overwhelm mode. Now it's April and it's tax time. She's panicked, and now she has to file for extensions because she's not prepared. She doesn't have a final P&L statement. She never looked at inventory turns, so she keeps buying for slow-moving categories but doesn't realize it. Who feels anxiety? Yeah, that's what Maureen said when I was telling her this. She's like, I feel really anxious right now. Now it's May, and Polly finally gets a P&L statement, and her margins suck, her cash flow sucks, and she's heading into the slowest season of the year for her. June is here, sales are down, and her spirits drop, and now she's just down and depressed. She has no events planned or creative ideas for July to bring in foot traffic, and the shame starts to kick in, which means when you're full of shame, you're not reaching out to people, you're not collaborating, you're not doing fun things to bring in more foot traffic, and the snowball or the downward spiral continues. She keeps posting on social media because that's what she feels she has to do, and she's not doing anything else, and she's not doing email marketing because she's in a rut. August comes around and it's back to school, but it's back to school for her 3 kids. And she has to get them ready and she has to do all the things, so she can't focus on her store because she has to get them off to school. And she wants to get them off to school because she wants more time so that she can work on her business. September's here and now it's time to do your IRS prepayment. And she doesn't know what to pay. She doesn't know if she's paying the IRS enough. I know, Jen, you can relate to this where you're like, damn, I have to write that check at tax time. Bren has talked about that too. And now we're in September and she hasn't made a single appointment with her CPA. She has no idea where she falls and what she owes. October is here now and fall falls flat. She didn't bring out anything for fall early enough. I have to say autumn because my friend Autumn would get mad at me if I said fall. Her customers are already asking for Christmas. She's not quite prepared for that, but then she brings out Christmas and it's selling super fast. And now her customers are asking for specific items that she doesn't have, in particular gift items, because she didn't write anything down from last year every time somebody said, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? December's here. And she, again, has a little bit of FOMO because everyone's posting these amazing 12 days of Christmas promotions. And she's not prepared. I love seeing all your reactions. She's not prepared, so she just wings it and does a 12 days of promotion, but it's so, excuse my mouth, half that it doesn't gain any traction, it's not worth anything, and she spent 4 hours or 8 hours planning it, and it was a waste of time because she put no thought and effort to it, and she didn't spend any time at markets looking for low promo, priced items so that she can really make this 12 days of Christmas promotion worth it. She hasn't planned any workshops or events. She ran out of bags. And she has no promotion set for January. She's working 80 hours a week. She's exhausted, and it's the end of Christmas again. And the routine, the same year starts over again, and nothing changes. So
Who here feels like part of that or all of that is them? That's good. I don't even think that was half of you. Or some of you who didn't raise your hands and don't want to admit it to me. But I know poor planning Polly because all of that at some point along my journey was me. All of that. All of it. I've experienced all of it.
So how many of you can see yourselves in poor planning Polly after you heard that? Well, I can see a lot of myself in her. I shared that. I was very open about that during my presentation. This presentation went out to really dig into how we can become better planners. I dug into the how of creating consistency in our lives, and in particular in planning for our businesses. Essentially, it was an extension of podcast episode 140. So anyhow, at the end of the presentation, my plan was to launch and announce the planner. That was like the last 2 slides on my slide deck. I want to explain first that the audience, most of the people that attended the retreat this year, were members of Master Shopkeepers. Now, I had shared or hinted with them probably a couple months ago, so it wasn't just like last week. I hinted that I was working on a planner, but they didn't know when I was going to launch this. They didn't know how I was going to launch it. That's all they knew, was that I was actually finally going to start to create a planner. They also knew it would be a digital planner, not a paper planner. I shared that with them. In this next audio clip that you're going to hear from my presentation, I was just about to announce my solution for poor planning Polly, and then this happened.
Preparing for this presentation and thinking back about myself and thinking back about how I am not great at planning, I'm much better at it now. But when you think about it, shopkeepers, including Polly, she does everything for everyone else. And everyone else comes first. And she's not putting herself first. And committing to herself and her business and this kind of process and this kind of planning comes in last. So we want to start to change that around. How do we make this a priority? How do we make it consistent for you and your business so that it doesn't always feel like I dropped the ball or I missed out on this or I wasn't prepared for that or I didn't do that? And trust me, I just want to remind you guys, I'm standing up here and I teach these things, but I also completely understand how hard it is to create consistency in habits. If anyone knows, it's me. I'm not up here telling you that I'm the queen of it, that I'm great at it. I'm definitely not, so I don't want anyone to think that. It's hard work. And I see a theme. I'm telling you guys, everything is hard work. But I'm giving you tools to make it easier. Question?
Okay. I need to start organizing and planning and tracking and all that. And I'm like looking for something like a big calendar or maybe something online where I can write everything out. I don't know what. All right.
I mean, Brenda, that couldn't be more perfect. I swear, I had no idea. You can see it in my face. My face is so red right now. I'm like, oh my God, how did that turn out that way? I did not pay her. I didn't ask her. Give me 1 minute. I'm sweating. Whew. That is crazy. I'm not crying yet, but that's what I mean. It's so weird, like seriously. Whew. Brenda, I got you. I'm buying you a cider. I mean, as soon as we're out of here, I'm buying you a cider. I can't believe that. That's crazy. So master shopkeepers know that I've been talking about this for a while, but they did not know that I would be, we're calling it soft launching it today. Thank you. So I have spent And this isn't about me. The story is really about you. I have spent the past 5 years listening. How many times, for all group members, tell me, like, how many times does this subject come up in the group? I want a planner. I throw away my planner. I waste my planner. I waste my money. There's nothing out there for us. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And all these years, I have anxiety every time. I will say, if you haven't noticed, this is not a paper planner. It is a digital planner. So I want to make sure I say that first for those of you who love the paper planner. But I've spent the last 5 years listening. I'm personally, you heard my story, I'm not a big planner. I'm personally not a paper planner. I did not make this for myself. I made it based off of what everyone was telling me and how I could create something that would be helpful, and I could create a tool that gave you the ability to be consistent. Like, who wants to start something from scratch? And this is where I give the huge shout out to Samantha from Hex Studios. She's incredible. She is just as it's so sweet. She's just as passionate about this planner as I was. I'm just going to be honest, she way underquoted me for doing the work for this. I gave her a bonus because I saw how much her heart was into this project. And I was like, you definitely underquoted me. And we joked last week, we're like, who would have thought that this would take 6 months and that we would spend this amount of work on it? And I'm not saying that for like sympathy or anything like that. We loved it. We loved the process. We have fun together. She's creative. She's also a retail business owner with an e-commerce store. So she understood what I was looking for. She understood everything. I shared all of the feedback, and we tried to make this as good as possible. Is it perfect? Probably not. Just like the retreat, I learn every year. Just like Savvy Shopkeeper and running groups, I learn every year. I try to make it better. But I'd say, damn, it's good. It's pretty good. So I want to share it with you guys if you want to see it. Brenda, I love that people asked if I paid you.
So you might be wondering from that clip what happened, and let me explain it a little bit because you weren't actually there and you couldn't see what was on my slide deck presentation. But while Brenda was asking her question, when she was asking about a tool to create consistency, I suddenly switched the slides on my slide deck and I displayed the slide where I announced my solution, the Savvy Shopkeeper Digital Planner, and that's when everyone started cheering. I mean, Brenda's timing could not have been more perfect. You can tell from the audio that it really all caught me off guard. And the best part about it, I think, is we all had fun with it. I mean, throughout like the next 15 minutes, we just kept laughing. It was great. It was just a really good moment at the retreat. So in this next audio clip, you're going to actually hear me talk about the planner itself.
Can you guys see that? So this year we went with the word growth, because why not, right? Like, that's what we all want. That's usually what we're all striving for. Will the word change next year? I don't know. No, we're just like winging this as we go along. But what was really important to me is that this wasn't just a calendar. Like, it wasn't just a calendar isn't enough. The calendar isn't going to do anything for me. I can use Google Calendar or my iPhone calendar. A calendar wasn't enough. Like, I wanted to make sure that all of the things that I mentioned, it gave you somewhere to go to get it done and that you weren't creating it from scratch. So the first one I had on my list on the slide deck presentation was consistent schedule. So at the beginning of every month, there's a calendar. At the beginning of every single month, there's an actual checklist. Is the checklist universal for every type of business? Maybe not, but we tried to make it, again, like when I focus on presentations so that everyone gets value out of it, we tried to make it as helpful to all types of retailers as possible. So there's an actual checklist where you can check things off and it's already there for you and you don't have to create it from scratch. There's also a blank checklist. If you want to add more, if you want to customize it and create your own, you can create your own. At the top, There are tabs at the top and at the side. I don't know of any other planner. I really didn't, again, I think I've said this before, when I do Savvy Shopkeeper content, like I don't pay attention to what anyone else is doing. I just pay attention to what you guys say and what I want to make. I don't know if there are other planners with top tabs, but it was really important for me to differentiate quarterly planning and some other information with the months, because I feel like everyone associates monthly planning with the side tabs, but what you get at the top is some of the additional information that you don't get in other planners. So you also get quarterly planning. Every month, it's giving you the quarter of what to do for the quarter ahead. Well, we also gave you a blank because, again, maybe our list doesn't hit the mark for you and you want to create your own, but you can use the list that we created to kind of get you going, because I think that's what happens a lot is people are like, okay, you gave me a blank, but where do I start? So at least you have the other checklist to reference in case that's helpful to you. So that's for all of the quarters. And then the other thing that was important to me was everyone seemed to have a different preference in terms of calendars. Weekly calendars, some people prefer a daily calendar, and some people prefer a monthly calendar. That was like all over the board. And when I was thinking of trying to create a paper planner, that was one of the biggest holdups is how do I serve the people who want a daily calendar? This planner is 549 pages. 549 pages. That's the 6 months of work. But everything is dated. That's the other thing, too, is like sometimes you do get a planner and nothing's dated and then you have to date everything. I was like, I want this to be as done as possible. Aside from me filling in all the blanks for your checklist and doing the work for you, I wanted this to be as complete as possible. So you have the option of a monthly calendar, a weekly calendar, and the daily calendar. And on the right of the daily pages, it's today I'm grateful for, top priorities, work to-dos, personal to-dos, because other people would tell me, like, I have 2 planners, one for work, one for business, one for personal. Why? It's our whole entire life. So if I can kind of combine them, that was one of the reasons I wanted to do this, to remind you, like, you can put it all in one place. Consistent CEO time was next. So at the top, those top tabs, you get all of the worksheets now in here. Everything is in here digitally. So you don't have to go to the academy and download them. You get it all in here. These are also clickable, those, if you want to go right to that. Oh, maybe those aren't. See, so not everything is clickable. But the tracking, operations, everything is in here. And of course, like you guys all know, I always add to the worksheets based off of your suggestions, so maybe next year we'll have more worksheets in there. The more I hear from all of you, the more value I can put into this. And then I also put a bonus, though some of you might not view it that way, an extra tab on the side. So this is October at the top, October, November, December. This tab here is that's your year-end report. So what we do in the Retail CEO Challenge, because at the end of the year, I want you to go back and I want you to look and I want you to, calculate things and really take a good look at your whole business as a whole. So if you've never done this report, at the end of the year, it specifically shows October, November, December. Once January hits, it's time for you to do that year-end report. So it's kind of like creating the system and the accountability for you. Consistent journaling. We have journaling pages in here. Oh, that's my little sticker. So random. I haven't talked about those yet. So the nice thing about digital planning is you can add and delete pages. So you can duplicate this, like we gave you maybe 5 or 10 of these pages, but you can duplicate this. So if you're a big journaler or note taker, like Rose said yesterday, she ran out of space after day 1, you can duplicate these pages. You can delete pages. You can add things. You're like, want to customize your planner? You can customize it. Yeah, so if you use an iPad, this is another thing, is when I did polls and surveys in the group, almost, I would say more than 2/3 of you, maybe you didn't answer the poll, but the people who responded to the poll said, I use an iPad every day, which is one of the reasons I was like, if I can spare you from carrying one more thing, which is a paper planner, or not planning at all, and you already use an iPad or a tablet, Amanda uses a Remarkable, it's going to be something different, but you can upload this, it's a PDF document, you can upload it to almost any tablet that can work with a notes app where you can actually tap and write. So with an iPad, it's Good Notes and the Apple Pencil. So I did a podcast episode on this recently where I went from paper to digital, and it's decluttered my whole entire office. I transferred everything, or I filed everything where it needed to go, and I moved forward with digital only, and it has saved me so much clutter. I converted Maureen, and she's like, oh my God, I use it all the time. So yes, if you have the Good Notes app, and you use the Good Notes app, it syncs, so you can see it on your iPad. That's how I'm looking at it on my phone. I can see it on my iPad, and I can see it on my desktop, and I can use it in all three. I leave my iPad at home, so the second I realize I need to take a note or add something, I just pull up my phone. You can type in it with text, or you can use a stylus, either or. But I love that it crosses over all of because we all have multiple devices. Okay, so let's keep moving on. And then, again, the last thing was consistent commitment to you, and that's that you have a tool. Like I'm calling this a business tool. It isn't just a calendar. It isn't just a planner. It is a retail business tool where everything's in one. I don't expect everyone to love it and use it. I get it. Everyone's different. But if this speaks to you, if you love the idea, I know some people do. I know so many people have asked for it. I personally don't know of anything else out there. I feel like there's other planners, maybe small business planners that don't relate, or a retail planner, but it's more for apparel, accessory stores, and we're not. I mean, there are some apparel store owners in our groups, obviously, but most of us aren't. So that planner could possibly work. I wanted to create a planner that worked for all of you. Any other questions? Brenda? I was getting to that. I swear. That was great.
Again, you can tell we had fun during that presentation. And at the end of that particular clip that you just heard, you can't hear her, but Brenda really doubled down and teed me up to answer the question about the price and when it would be available. I have to give a shout out to Brenda for her sense of humor, for playing along with this. Once she actually realized what she started, she really made this presentation fun and funny. And again, we had a great time with it. And no, I did not set her up to do that. It really could not have been more perfect. I wanted to share this particular clip so you can have a better understanding of the planner. I want to remind you, though, that the Savvy Shopkeeper Digital Planner, this brand new planner, starts on October 1st. That's the date of the first calendar is October 1st. So if you're multitasking, you didn't catch that, I just want you to pause and listen because this is really, really important. This planner starts on October 1st. I think people are so used to planners starting January 1st that I really want to convey that this is starting October 1st. Why? Because we, as retail business owners, we can't wait for January to plan for January. We need to start planning our store refreshes, the new year. We need to start planning that now. And that's why I'm putting this planner into the hands of so many retail store owners, because I want you to kick off 2023 on the right foot. It doesn't make sense for us to start planning the new year when the new year is here. Okay, so it's time to wrap up this episode. If you want information on the planner, you'll go to savvyshopkeeper.com/planner. And this is really truly a limited time offer. The cart will close soon. And again, the reason why is because the planner starts October 1st. So it doesn't make sense for me to sell this in November or December. Don't forget, when you buy the planner, you'll also receive a monthly email from me specifically about planning and getting into your planner. It will give you a nudge to use the planner. It will give you some helpful planning and digital planning tips because I know digital planning is new to some of you. It's new to me, so I'm also learning, and then I want to share with you. And I want to give you a little bit of a hint. I also love helping with accountability. If you've taken my CEO challenge, if you've taken my email marketing challenge, if you're part of Master Shopkeepers, I work hard at helping people, retail store owners, with accountability. So don't be surprised if I throw in a fun challenge or giveaway throughout the year if you buy the planner. So make sure you don't ignore my planner emails. I am here to help you and encourage you and hold you accountable to that planner. And that was the one thing that I wanted to do that no other planner does. It's like you buy the planner and then what, right? So I'm here along with you on this journey over the next year. Okay, it's time to wrap it up. To find links to anything I mentioned, visit the show notes for this episode, savvyshopkeeper.com/episode 141. And of course, if you're ready to become a better planner, if you're ready to kick poor planning Polly to the curb, visit savvyshopkeeper.com/planner. If you have any questions at all, DM me on Instagram. My username is @SavvyShopkeeper. Until the next episode, be savvy and boss up.